Yeah, what is going on, everybody? This time we're doing a trio FNCS analysis on Weepin Woods because it was recommended by a viewer. So just to break down the chest locations in Weepin, we have majority of the ones spawning in this big house. The second up is this small house, and the rest is spread out through these areas over here. Now, if you wanted some callouts for Weepin, I call this house Alpha. I call this house Beta. And this is Sergeant, because the Sergeant spawns here. This is Pond, parking lot over here, garage, RVs, washroom, and then tents. That are the callouts I like to have for Weepin, but you can make your own callouts or whatnot. So in total, 15 chests. Majority of them spawn over here, then here, and then the rest are spread out over there. So let's check out bunker chest now. So bunker chest, there is one bunker chest that's really nearby. Technically two if we include this one. But there's a bunker chest over here in basement, is what I like to call this, because it is in the basement of the house. So usually what ends up happening is if a team lands logjam, they hit this one over here, and then they go into trail, is what I call this, because there's a trail going like this. And before this part was added, like last season, all it was like just a trail with some like little extra chests. But now it's spire, trail, basement. And so don't be afraid when you're dropping in to be like, no teams are landing trail. Okay, there's a logjam team, there's a holly team, there's Boney, but no one's going trail. So don't be afraid to maybe send someone early to grab that and run away. That bunker chest is there. And it takes pretty quick to loot all of Weepin, then even loot this part here. Don't be afraid to run over here and like loot this stuff before the Holly team gets out. Then you'll be good to go. So let's go to off-road tires. There's an off-road tire spawn inside the garage. There's also a chance for some trucks and cars to spawn in there. I guess it doesn't want to show it, but there's definitely a truck spawn in there, 100%. But on the topic of trucks, let's go to mechanical parts. So in total, there are 5 100% mechanical part spawns. That is the RVs. And then there's also, what do we got here? 6, 7, 8. There's one here. 9. 9 car/truck spawns as well. So you can pretty much guarantee pumps for mainly, probably like 1 to 2 of your trio members, depending on what all spawns here. So that means that if you have a third trio member, controller or not, to someone who likes to use the primal or the tac, maybe just give them that gun to save mechanical parts for the rest of your team. Yes, there is a boat spawned over here as well. So if you're really down bad on mechanical parts, you can run over here and hit the boat as well. So campfires, campfires don't really matter for Weepin because you will pretty much always be in zone or be close enough to zone where you can just rotate to. So it's not like an edge place like Camp Cod where the campfires really matter, but just remember where the nearby campfires are, just in case you guys end up fighting in the storm or being like fighting over here, winning the fight, and then having to come back and reboot, and then you need to know that there's a campfire over here at Cluck. There's another one down here. So I'm pretty sure there's no noms. Yeah, no noms really nearby. Now this is pretty important with Weepin, is that there are mushroom spawns all along here. I find these ones right here are pretty much 100%. Always mushrooms here, and then here as well are pretty common mushroom spawns. And then with mushrooms is that you can just get your team to 50 shield and then commit the rest with mushrooms. And I'll show you the unconned route that you can do where you can basically get 100 shield if all these spawn, or at least get like 50 shield from mushrooms and just save up. Don't be afraid if you're unconned to utilize the mushrooms that spawn around here just to get some free shield. So let's go to fishing rods and fishing holes. So mainly all the holes, there is a chance for a hole spawn here. So what I like to do is that if I land in this house here, I like to loot all this. I shoot this to see what I get. If I get like a pro fishing rod, then I hit this just to see what I get, because there are icebox spawns on the icebox, and there's 3 icebox spawns in total here, so you can get a slurpfish, flopper, you know, for small fry, whatever you can get from these. So you really have chances to, if they all drop something, you could have like 3 slurpfish, like 3 floppers or something like that. And then we have efficient spawns all down through here, which are important. And I'll mention this rotate when I talk about the uncontested loop path that you guys could do. Reboot van, there's one in the middle. On the topic of the reboot van, what tends to happen a lot, I find, is that Slurpy's hot. Like there's like 5 teams in here. One team, 1 or 2 members die off the rip. They grab the cards, they grab a car, and they dip out, and they usually come flying over this hill like this. They're hunting for this van to reboot. And because weeping isn't really that hot, usually only contested by like 1 to 3 teams. It's never like 5 teams, 4 teams. Usually by this time in the game, it's like there might not be anyone here. Like you guys might all dip to basement or whatever. This team might be like, oh, free reboot. But if you stick around and hear a car, and the car's gunning for the reboot van, good chances it's a duo or a solo. Now, bounty boards. This is important too because this is a common route you can take. If weapons uncon and your team loses all really quick, you can go over here, hit the bounty board, and a push that I like to do last season, especially when RPG was in the play, is that we would loot weapon, we would dip over here, hit bounty, and then we would push hydro and see if we can get RPG. And if not, then we go to Slurpee or we push flush, I guess, in this season, depending on where zone is. Push flush, you get a free pump from one of your teammates. The only downside is that, you know, there's a lot of splits over here where teams can rotate down. Slurpee might even come down just to use the NPC. It might be a little bit of a clusterfuck down there if you do that. But I'm pretty sure that is it. Or I guess we can talk about wolves, boars. Not boars, but wolves and dinosaurs do spawn around here, so there is a bunch of bones, but there's also free bones that 100% spawn on these bridges, so it doesn't really matter, except for the meat that they drop, which honestly not bad. White heels. So let's talk about if you're uncontested at weapon. So what I like to do is you're 100% uncontested. You send 1 person here, you send 1 person here, and you send 1 right here. This guy loots this, and then he turn on mushrooms, fishing rods, and fishing holes. So first off, he loots all of this, so 4 chests if they all spawn. He can break the boat that's here too, just for mechanical parts. There should be no one around him. No one's gonna land any of these spots, so he's pretty much safe. Unless like the bony team is unconned and they watch him drop in, then they might be able to do something like this where all 3 of them push, but that would be like pretty weird. Let's use a different color because okay, yeah, just stay with black. So 1, 2, and so this guy grabs a fishing rod and he fishes all down through here, but while he fishes, he also stops to take any mushrooms. So he might be carrying, you know, 6 minis, and there's no mushroom patch here, no patch here, but there is a patch here. The patches usually spawn in 5 to 6. So 5 mushrooms is 25 shield. So if he sees that, then he can take a mini, take the 25 shield, so he saves a mini, and then take a big, or a shield fish or whatnot. And then if he can't hold any of the fishes, he throws them towards his teammate over here. So this guy can come pick up any of them and come back into zone like that. He loots basement. Again, if basement's uncontested, then he goes down, hits this chest. He can either go up towards Spire, you know, loot all of this, or he can go down and hit the bridge here while also fishing. And then I wouldn't go past this point unless you're with your full trio. Then he can loop back around and enter back into week. While the other guy, this guy just loots his main house. He might mine some mechanical parts over here. He should 100% leave a truck or a car. So if there is an off-road tire, even if there isn't, they can use that to rotate out. And then he can come over here, fish this if it isn't already hit. This person loots all of this, grabs a fishing rod, loots or fishes this up. It's these chests. grabs the RVs over here, and then depending on who has the pump or who's the best with the pump, you guys can figure out the mechanical parts. Then if you wanted to, you can even look for these patches of mushrooms here to see if both of these spawn over here, then you can get from 50 to 100, or you can get from like 25 to 50 or 75 to 100 with this one over here. And then you guys together can coordinate what to do next. Do you want to push into trail, see if you guys can catch the logjam team rotated in, or do you want to go downwards or just zip to zone? So let's say you're contested by one team and you guys choose to land alpha. So remember the callouts, this is alpha here. So usually if you're contested, most teams will just con you. So this will just be a big fight. Thing is that the chests are pretty much split apart. There's actually 5, 6, 7. Oh yeah, they're missing a chest. There's 2 chests here actually. There's one in the very roof, so when you break like the roof here, there's one, and then if you keep going down, there's one on like this little mantle. Then these are in bedrooms, and then these 3 are on all 3 layers or 3 floors, so 1 on each floor. But there's a tons of floor spawns back here, especially the one to watch out for. There is a floor spawn right here, and this can have, you know, minis, bigs, like whatever. I find it always has like a shotgun or a submachine gun. You can drop on this and push it. What you want your trio to do is to claim a side of the house. If you guys are con and alpha 100% of the time, so pick one of these sides and pick what everyone's going to do. Okay, let's have one person land on the balcony over here and enter in. It's one guy going through the back door, and one guy tries to alpha up the roof and then rotates over or something like that. Or maybe he goes in the back door too, and you guys loot all of this spot, and then you push over to the other side. Or if you're doing the other side, you could have someone lands on this floor loot spawn, someone goes in through here, and someone like enters in through the front door and runs over here, runs this way and grabs this and dips back or something like that. Just have a plan for alpha that you and your team find that works, and you'll be good to go. Now let's say you land alpha and it's unconned, so awesome, and the other team lands beta over here. So you know, you do like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Then with this is that the first team to push when this team's not ready ends up being the team that wins. So if you push out into beta and they're on the roof, you'll probably end up losing. But if you push into beta and they're still inside looting, or one rotated back to RVs, there's only 2 inside beta, then you end up winning. That's kind of how it works. So pushing over is pretty risky if it's late in the game, because they could be waiting for you. Like they could have someone hiding behind these trees over here, or even like out here in the bush. So it's like a pretty like dead man's land, this part here, if they expect you to be coming. So either what I recommend is, if your team is good at fighting, you just get a fighting loadout, okay? Fuck the ARs, whatever, you know, just get any type of shotgun, AR, and decent shield. So you have like 50, 50, and 100 on your shield, and push into beta as soon as possible. Now, let's say it's flipped, and you're the team that lands beta. So let's just go, we have 1, your team, and you go 1, 2. Might be able to assume, actually. Might be able to do something like black 1. So this is what I like to do with my trio when we land Weeping, because we landed here all last season, and we even tested out Weeping a bit this season. But I like to land here. First thing I do is I open this chest if it's here. If not, then I land on like one of these ones back here, or I just go in with beta. I land here, I get the chest, get the 30 wood, build a wall to block off any shots from alpha. If they see me land early, they might try to go for some tags. I could talk to the NPC that's there, and all he does is give you challenges, easy challenges like break trees and collect wood, so it's pretty much free gold. I talk to him, see if I get a gold spaz. Then there's fireflies that spawn right here, and I like to grab the fireflies and I just lob them at the house. So like 3 to 4 fireflies I throw at the house. There is some angles. If there's a stone right here, and if you, I think it's this one actually right there. if you stand on top of it and throw it high, you can land a firefly in the back of the house. So I try to go for a pattern like this, just so everything is burning. It's a little bit of like a clusterfuck. And this is still like early in the game. Like most people would have only hit like 1 or 2 chests. And then I run through here and I pick up any scraps they have. So if there's an extra shotgun, AR, or whatever. And by that time, we're ready to push. And then as we get on the roof of Alpha, as soon as possible, locate where they are, and then start piece controlling it up. And paying attention, like, okay, how many footsteps did we hear? Like this, okay, we only hear 2 footsteps. Where's the third guy at? Like maybe he's trying to like sneak around, go for a play where he, you know, beams us on the roof, and then his teammates can push up. So when we land beta, we like to loot up this as soon as possible. It's easier in duos, and then push alpha like super early. I'm saying we have like 150 mats, because best case scenario is the team over here in alpha, they're split. You know, alpha's pretty big, so they're split up. So let's say 1 and 2 are over here looting this part, then 3 is all alone over here. And we hear that, and we hear them over here. So we collapse on this guy and get a free kill, free pick, or we crack the shit out of him, and then we are able to clean up the other 2 as well. Let's say you're conned by 2 teams. And this is where it gets a little bit like crazy. That if you're conned by 2 teams, usually what ends up happening is one team lands here, and then either another team contests them. You know, there's gonna be 2 teams here. So let's do like that team and then team blue. So that they end up fighting there, and then you're free here. This is best case scenario. Loot up this again. Throw your fucking fireflies, because, you know, just to get the chaos started over here. And then push in and see if you can get the kills. Because if you can leave Weeping with 4 kills that you cleaned up, like 1 from this, and then the rest 3 over 2 and 2, then you're like chilling on points. You don't need surge or anything like that. You might need surge later on, but you'll like pretty much be good. The best case scenario is beta isn't contested and you push Weeping just like this. It'll be good to go. Now, on to next one is if for some reason there's like, you know, a team will land here and then team blue will be like, no, actually, let's go here. So now you're contested here. And this is basically like a 50-50. So it depends. If they get better shit over here, you're dead. If you get better shit over here, they're dead. So what I like to do is that there are floor spawns on the sides here, so you might be able to get an AR, a pump, or something like that. So make sure you identify what are on these balconies when you're dropping in. You can drop in, go in through the front door. There's 2 doors here you can enter from like this. Go in, and if you can lock down, look for a floor spawn before you look for a chest. Find a floor spawn and then push the people going for the chest, and it'll be good. There's also floor spawns in the attic, so when you're flying in like this, there's nothing on either of these, you can look up through the windows of the attic and see if there's anything up there, just to make sure. So if there's like, if you're the first one down and you go, oh, there's a green pump in the attic, then you send 1 person to the attic and they take the green pump and then go down. Then you guys might win the fight for that. But what good alpha teams do in this situation, if you're this team and there's 2 people that land here, like 2 teams, you want to loot this up, get decent fighting loot, and then third party again, because if you leave with 4 kills, you're chilling. Or like 3 kills, 5 kills, 6 kills, even. Then you're like super chilling. So that's why if you are this team, you want to end this fight as soon as possible. And if you're not going to end it as soon as possible, then you're probably going to kill this trio and then get killed by this team, unless you do some miracle shit and end up killing this team, which will be a lot stacked, more stacked than you are. Alright, let's say you're conned by 4 teams. So we have black, and in here, let's just say 5 for the sake. We have blue, contesting them. We have pink, land in here. We have yellow, which is your team. And we have another color, we have red. And red does some crazy split like this, because they're fucking mad shambles for the highest in the air. So if you're black, beat blue as soon as possible, and then either A, you can loop around to fight red, or wait for red to push into this fight, and then you third party it. Okay, and if you're blue, same thing, you want to finish the fight here as soon as possible, and then either wait for red to push in, or push red yourself. If you're pink, you probably, no, You're pink, you probably want to finish this fight as soon as possible, and then you're kind of in the middle. So if you push into black, say black wins over here. Whatever team wins alpha and you push into, then red can third party that. But if they're mad shambles on loot, they might just dip out. Like, they might just go, okay, fuck this. Like, let's get the fuck out of here. We have nothing. We can't fight this. But let's say it's super early in the game. You 50-50. You win this fight, and you still here fighting over here. Push down into red. But you have to end this quick. Because if the black or blue team, whatever team wins this, here's fighting at, like, RVs/trailers, they're going to want to push that, like, as soon as possible as well. So basically, you want to end this fight on both sides quick. Then whichever team, whatever red decides to do, you third party that. And then if you're red, it depends on your loot. So if you have dog shit loot over here, maybe just dip out to Spire, dip back to like bounty board, go up through here, hit cluck, do something like else, and just run. Because if you're shit on loot, then you don't want to fight this team. Okay, so we talked. Where can Weepin rotate into? Let's go. Who can rotate into Weepin? Well, this is a lot of this is timing based. Most times, the bony team goes up to pleasant. They usually don't come down. Fire team goes to risky, or they go this way. The Holly team does something like this towards bony, but they can loop into Weepin like this. Yep. Sorry about that. For some reason, I was having major deja vu, and I thought I already recorded the Weepin. Just fucking hallucinating, I guess. Alright, so Boney's not going to rotate in. Now, basement team. If there is a team land in basement, they're either going to push into logjam or they're going to push into you. If they have good loot, probably push into you. Logjam is also free if they want to pump. So it's one of these two rotates is that they're going to do. That's why when you're flying in, you want to have either your entire team or one team identifying that, okay, there is 100% a team land in basement, logjam, holly, one of these locations over here, just so your team can be aware that it is an option. And then if you're the IGL, you want to be constantly reminding them, like, guys, by the way, watch out for the basement team. If you guys are unconned, maybe this guy doesn't go all the way down through here. He just stops at the bridge and then comes in. There is a Weepin team. There is like a basement team over here. We should 100% be careful of them. Now, Slurpee can push into. If they loot this quick or whatnot, they could push into Weepin like this. This is a common rotate, okay? Like if it's late in the game and zones like here, they are 100% hitting this and then come in either like this. This team is 100% coming into Weepin. Zone pulls this way. That's why by this time you either want to be gone, done fighting here, rotating the zone, or you're waiting for them to come so you can beam them and then kill them. Now, on the topic of spawns, there are NPCs that spawn here. There are two. We have, I don't know what it shows for here, Willow, Dash, Sergeant. So the Sergeant gives you challenges. You can get a fuck ton of gold, but you can pretty much get like mad gold from like here, mainly alpha. Break all the beds here. They might have a chance of dropping 20 gold. They can just drop like 8 to 5 each, and then the chest and everything. You can pretty much guarantee enough for a rift, or she also has a challenge where she can reveal the next zone, which is very good. So what I like to do is send one guy, the one guy that lands alpha. He goes around and he gets all the gold from everywhere. So you don't pick up any of the gold other than this guy. This guy can grab his gold over here because it's too far. But all the gold that's in Weepin, this one guy grabs it all. And then he ends up having enough for the next zone. And then he goes, okay, the middle of the next zone is right here. And then he gets, all right, You know, his other teammate, can you mark right here? Okay, that's the closest edge. Okay, other teammate, can you mark right here? All right, that's the farther edge. Then you can kind of, there's the zone. Okay, so here it is. Where do we want to position? I remember this from Arab or someone. I don't even know what coach said this. But you want to be middle of first, middle of second, middle of third, and then edge of fourth. You want to be somewhere like here. So you get the next zone, and then you can decide, you know, do we want to rotate in more? I would pick probably this Coliseum wall right here if this was something like the zone. Best case scenario. Alright, let's turn off NPC. Step back on. So that's really who can rotate into. Where can weapon rotate to if you want to push? All common rotate is you grab the car, and you push into Boney. And then if no one's at Boney, you just go straight to Pleasant. Or you go over here and you see if you can catch the sweaty team rotating out. But you have to be careful if the Holly team come into third party. That is dynamic, quite dynamic if you go up. Now, if there is a team basement, you can push the basement team early enough and then keep going and push the Holly team, or see if you can catch the Holly or the logjam team. If you can catch the Holly team pushing logjam, you would fight like right around here somewhere. If not, you can grab this, and then if it's in zone, you either go down the shanty town or push into Slurpee. Now, let's say you just didn't want to go left for whatever reason, you can just go to gas and go straight down into Slurpee, hit bounty board, and then from bounty board you can push it this way or push your bounty wherever they might. Now, let's talk about, I guess, power positions nearby in Weepin. We have one over here on Spire. We have this mountain over here, is pretty strong. And we have a pretty easy rotate to main Spire. You can just rotate all the way in. If it's unconned, you can just get all the way on top of Spire and start fucking tagging kids. Now you have a decent rotate to, you know, Risky Billboard, Coliseum, because depending on how early you go, you can beat most of the teams that like the lazy team. All the other teams rotate through. I think I've talked about everything in regards to Weepin. Unconned, yep. Tested. Yeah, the reason why I'm not a fan of Weepin, just because it is pretty, like, the places like Lazy and Holly and Dirty and like big POIs, that if you're beat, like if you're beat to both of these houses, you're fucked. You just have to 50-50, you're going to have to land somewhere else, which is, you know, still being fucked if that's conned. Because it's only really 2 houses, so you have to make sure it's really drop oriented, because if you're conned by more than 2 teams, and you're beat, then you're fucked, and that's it, you lost. But over here in Lazy, if you're conned by more than 2 teams, there's like plenty of splits you can do where you can still at least have a fighting chance with some type of loot. Same with like retail or whatnot. So that was an issue we had, that if you fuck up your drop once, then you're basically shit of luck. And we found that might have just been our team's luck, but whichever house we landed at, the other team 100% had something better. And so they get like pumps and shit, and we'd get like fucking makeshifts or whatnot. But anyway, that is the trio analysis of Weepin Woods. If you want me to do another analysis of something else, just comment below and I'll just do it next. Make sure you look at my recent videos or past videos. I've done Bony Burbs, I've done Lazy, Retail, Dirty, Caddy, Camp God. Some other YouTuber did Misty. So I'm not doing that one. I don't know if someone wants me to, I will. Big Craggy, it's Stealthy. I can't even remember if that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Yeah, cheers.